If you're among the billions of people using Chrome, then Google's stark new data harvesting disclosures should come as a nasty surprise. Worse, a new Chrome revelation, one that hasn't yet made headlines, but which is detailed below, should serve as an even more serious warning. Here's what you need to do now. Those are the words of Zach Doffman, contributor of Forbes.com, where he outlines why you shouldn't use Google Chrome. And that's what we'll be talking about today, along with some price hikes from Asus and some seizures of some CMP cards in Hong Kong. This is Off and On Again, the podcast where we discuss the latest in PC gaming, hardware, and more. My name is Nick Laporte, and I am joined, as always, by my AI co-host, MATT, a.k.a. Matt.
I think we need like intro music or something.
Well, we just turned you on and we got that sound. That's good enough, right?
Sure. I guess so.
We've got some ideas for intro music, and I think we need to revisit those and actually work on that.
Okay. Last time I tried to open Cubase, it like didn't open. So
you're like, forget it. It's fine. Yeah. So Matt and I were talking about some things earlier in the show, the pre-show. By the way, if you want to listen to that, you can go over to patreon.com, tech illiterate, and sign up there for that. But anyways, we were talking about installing Windows and reinstalling Windows. And I just wanted to make a mention of one of the videos that I've been working on and how easy it is to install Windows, though. Like, when's the last, you said it was, Matt said it was, 2016? You think it was the last time you installed Windows freshly?
No, before then.
Before then, okay, before 2016.
Because in 2016, like I don't think it counts as a fresh install. I just upgraded to Windows 10 from 7.
Okay, fine. Well, I just got to say, on how I'm always surprised now about how fast it is. Because it used to be in the days when you had your hard drive, you plug in your USB drive or your disk or whatever it is, and you're like, okay, gotta wait for Windows to install. I'm gonna go have a beer or whatever you're gonna do and wait for that to happen. Now, literally, I was using the Samsung 980 Pro, like, their prosumer. They say it's pro. I want to say it's actually professional grade, but anyways, had that in my machine, installed Windows through USB. Literally, from the time you hit install until it restarts to do all its restarting stuff was less than 60 seconds. It's incredibly fast. It's amazing. I love it. Oh, it's a dream.
I've actually done a lot of Windows installing recently. I built a server. I put Windows Server 2019 on it. I was putting together a PC for our office. I put Windows 10, what was it? Enterprise, the long-term service branch or whatever. And I also installed Windows on an iMac, and the Mac one was like the easiest Windows install I've ever done in my life, because there's like this Mac Boot Camp software that's doing a bunch of stuff for you, it was just really cool how like the second, it's like, I want to install Windows. It's like, okay, give me an ISO file or whatever. And it does all this stuff for you. So it's like installing all the specific proper drivers for all of the, all the hardware that's in it. Like it has an AMD GPU or whatever. All of the wireless devices. It was so cool. And like it's, there's always this Apple Boot Camp thing in your system tray that's there, like looking for hardware and software updates and stuff. It's really cool. It's kind of like, I wish Windows, I wish Windows worked this well on its own.
Even Apple does Windows better than other personal computers.
Yeah,
it's an interesting thing to find out. But I have a question though, for like the PCs that you installed Windows on. I guess it was server stuff too. What kind of drive were you loading that to?
They were both SATA SSDs.
And how would you rate that experience? How long do you think that would generally take?
I don't know. It didn't take too long, but I wouldn't say 60 seconds. The main issue was that In one case, it was installing off of a USB 2 drive. And in the other case, this Acer computer that I bought thinking, hey, it's a computer. I'll do whatever I want with it. So for some reason, I spent all day trying to figure out how to just get it to boot from a USB drive. I just gave up and burnt the CD or a DVD.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, it's another annoying part is that only the very first version of that Windows Enterprise thing, like a I don't know, 2018, I don't know, like an unpatched version is the only one that will fit on a DVD. All the rest are 5, 6, 7, 8 gigabytes. So anyway.
Well, how much room is on a DVD? I thought it was 70 gigabytes or something, wasn't it? Or am I wrong? Or no, you're right. It's probably 8 gigabytes.
It's 4.7. Okay, it had been so long since I burned a DVD that I forgot that too. When I saw a thing, an ISO file that was 6.5 gigabytes, I'm like, oh yeah, that'll fit on a DVD. No problem. They're 6 or 7 gigabytes, right? No.
Oh, no. Okay.
It had been so long. 4.7.
I'm thinking of a Blu-ray then. It must be.
Well, I guess you could get a dual layer DVD, but I don't know. I never really got into that. It kind of like a Blu-ray burner, but mostly for just having some semi-cheap way to, I don't know, save a bunch of data or a offline backup kind of situation.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Okay. It looks like a Blu-ray is 25 gigs. Single layered Blu-ray is 25 gigs. Wow. I thought it'd be more. Anyways.
Yeah, I think are there multiple layers?
Well, the article that I pulled up said dual layers have 50. I imagine there might be more than that.
Yeah, I wonder if there's more than dual layer.
Yeah. I saw 90 something gigs. But so after I did this testing with this new M.2 drive, 1 terabyte Samsung drive, there's gonna be a video published. If you're listening to this, it's probably already on my YouTube channel. I've already edited the A-roll and stuff. Should be up tomorrow, Monday, the 5th of March. And check it out. Please check it out. Let me know what you think. But I just wanted to mention how good it always feels when you have a new, fresh install of Windows. I reinstalled Windows on my original WD drive, so that's what I'm using as my C drive right now. And it seemed just as fast to install Windows on that compared to the Gen 4 drive. And it just feels so nice. Like everything's clean. You don't have a bunch of baloney filling up your drive that you don't know what it is or where it is. It's nice. Feels good. I've got over half capacity left on my drives right now. I've got over a terabyte of space that I could have left to fill up. That's good. Feel good about that. No stress. You got to clean out your house. A little spring cleaning. You can do the same with your PC.
Yeah, I recently threw out some boxes. It was really hard.
Oh. Which one do you think was the most difficult to get rid of?
Probably the toaster that I destroyed 2 years ago. For some reason, I still had the box in a closet. I left I left a bread bag too close to it, and so the plastic melted all over it.
Oh yeah.
And I remember, we went without toast for a while because I kept on saying, "Oh yeah, I'll probably try to fix it somehow," but I just realized after a certain point, there's no way I'm going to be able to get all this plastic out of here without just burning lots of plastic and waiting for it to go into the atmosphere.
So basically, every time you turn on the toaster, it would just burn more of the plastic.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah.
Oh wow, that's kind of funny. I remember when I was a kid, being at a friend's house. I don't know. I was probably 8 years old, and they had one of those fireplaces that's gas fireplace with a glass on it.
Yeah.
And somebody's sleeping bag got too close to it, and it just made this giant circle of melted whatever materials in a sleeping bag, and it smelled really bad. It was bad.
Yeah, I've seen that at camps and stuff where there's some kid who has on a nylon jacket, and a spark flies out of the fire.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Same deal. A big hole burnt in their jacket.
Oh, the worst is when it lands like on your in between your toes. You're wearing sandals or something. Don't wear sandals by the fire, folks.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea. I learned my lesson the hard way.
I'm more of like a
Yikes.
winter campfire sort of person. Like
I don't know if I'm into that.
What?
You like climb the mountains, get in the snow kind of thing, start a fire?
We don't have too many mountains here.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah.
No, I just mean like I've been around many more campfires in the freezing cold than like on a beach or something.
That sounds very adventurous. I like that. I like to hear about these adventures. Maybe we should start a different podcast, The Adventures of Matt.
Yeah, the childhood adventures of Matt. I haven't done too much in adult life. Been more of a city person.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I was in Scouts as a kid, so
that sounds fun.
It was great.
Did they do any computer stuff in Scouts?
No. We learned how to light fires with 2 matches and how to build lean-tos and stuff. Like there was no computer stuff.
Like tied knots and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, all the knots.
Interesting.
Bow line,
anyway.
Round turn and 2 half hitches, all that kind of stuff.
I'm nodding my head like I know what you're talking about. No idea.
But never a noose.
That's good. That's good to know.
It is good. It was, as a kid, I thought it was a weird thing that like nobody wanted to teach us how to tie a noose because we just thought it was kind of like, it was a famous knot, sort of, you know?
Yeah.
But I guess it's good. They probably shouldn't teach little boys how to how to do that for the future.
Yeah, I don't know where it would be useful. Like
it wouldn't be. It wouldn't ever be productive.
That's what I mean. Yes, it could be useful in very many situations, but productive for the good is probably not going to happen in any case. Yeah. Let's talk more about PC stuff, okay? I fixed my mouse finally. Okay, I took apart my proper mouse like over a month ago.
Oh yeah.
And I was talking to you about
this. What is it again? A Logitech something or other?
It's a Logitech G602 I've had for 50, I was going to say 15. I don't know, 8 years probably. It's looking pretty janky. But I'm going to be making a video about it.
I did so many mice in the last 8 years.
Yeah, so I'm keeping this one, okay? So the middle mouse button wasn't working. So I was like, I wonder if I can fix that. So I opened it up, found what the button was. It looked like a pretty standard button and went to, what's the website? DigiKey?
Yep.
DigiKey. Fantastic. Ordered it really cheap. It was like $8 with shipping, which, you know, the piece costs like 30 cents. But, you know, you got to pay for the shipping, excuse me. And it didn't show up. I was like, what's going on? Well, it turns out FedEx never, you know, buzzed my apartment buzzer and just left a note on the front door outside my apartment building, which I never go in. I either drive in through the back or come in through the back door if I'm walking. So I didn't know. Check, you know, a few weeks in, I'm like, what's going on? Find out the tracking stuff. It's like, oh, it's been returned already by this point. Oh, that's good. So anyways, I ordered in some new buttons from them and they showed up in 2 days, which was super fast. And I was so excited to use my mouse because I was using this silly, crappy Logitech spare mouse. That's like a mobile mouse, really small. So, unsoldered the button, soldered in the new button. Works like a champ. And I'm so happy. And every time I hold it now, I'm remembering how crappy it felt to hold the tiny mobile mouse that it's great. And everything works. Fix your stuff. Don't throw it out. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, yeah. I got into a similar sort of thing with another Logitech thing this past weekend. Or I guess we're still in the weekend. It's been a long weekend due to Easter.
Very long weekend.
Yeah, my Logitech G27 wheel. Yeah, I won't really get into it, but yeah, it's toast. I took it completely apart, and there's something definitely very wrong with it.
Do you think like the logic board's fried or something?
Yeah, or something on it. I didn't go through like every single connection with my multimeter, but like all of the, you know, there's so many people with like how to fix the G27 articles and videos and stuff. And I went through like pretty much all of the main things that could be wrong. And, you know, all those things were fine. Something else was wrong. So, yeah, I basically tore it apart and threw all the plastics in the garbage and saved all the electronic bits for the electronics recycling thing, which I'll go to one day.
Where do you think is the best place to recycle electronics? I usually go to Best Buy because that's the only place I really know where to go for that.
I don't know. My city has like a drive-through electronics drop-off thing. I guess it's like a municipal run thing.
Oh,
so I go to that.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Yeah. You just sort of go there and it's just, I mean, it's a car drive-through thing. So you go in and you say like what sort of thing you have. And they're like, okay, second stop. And, you know, there's a bin like full of computer monitors or just other random stuff. And they're just collecting it all and shipping it off to God knows where.
Yeah, right?
I don't know.
I'm curious about that. And I worry about that too, because I think a lot of people don't really understand how recycling works and how things need to be separated. And on top of that, probably throwing out, you know, old USB mini cables and stuff into the trash where it really doesn't belong. And even I remember moving in with my stepdad when I was, I don't know, in my late teens, and he didn't even have a recycling bin. This was like 15 years ago. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like what? So to think that people actually separate their electronics, batteries especially. By the way, if you're using non-rechargeable batteries, what are you doing? Like get at like rechargeable batteries, you will save so much money over the years. It's unreal. And on top of that, you're helping the environment, guys. I'm sorry not to get preachy, but like I have these Energizer batteries. I've got some, I don't know, Eneloop or other ones from like Panasonic or something. I bought like 5+ years ago. Still working great. Just, you know, plop in the recharger when they're toast and they'll be good to go in whatever 24 hours. You know, it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so
they
good.
they also hold their, I don't know if it's their voltage or their amperage longer before they die.
You mean if just like sitting in the drawer?
No, while you're using them.
Okay.
So certain electronics, like they will like as you drain a battery, the voltage goes down, I guess. I could be completely wrong in this, but I'm going to try to explain this the best that I know. So the output, I'm pretty sure it's the voltage, goes down slightly as the battery drains. And all electronics will have a range of voltage that they can operate within. And as soon as the battery gets below a certain voltage, or maybe it's amperage, they'll stop working. So if you go out and buy some like cheap, you know, dollar store batteries and put them in your digital camera or I don't know, something like that, it's going to say the batteries are dead long before they actually are. You know, if you put those in an old school flashlight or something, they're going to last much, much longer because it can deal with the voltage going down slowly. But these like nickel metal hydride batteries, you know, they can deliver that power more consistently right till the end of their charge. So they're much better for like digital devices that have a lower tolerance or whatever. So, I mean, don't buy disposable batteries, but definitely get alkaline if you can. Don't buy those like carbon cell ones. But definitely rechargeable. They say like Ni-MH. They're amazing. And yeah, same situation. I bought some batteries like 20 years ago and they're still going. I think they're Sanyo or something. But they're much better now and they're awesome.
Yeah.
They just
Don't be scared off by the sticker. I mean, it's going to be more expensive up front, obviously.
Yeah.
Like probably 4 times as more expensive, but within months even, you're probably already saving money.
Yeah. My problem is the like coin cell batteries and weird battery. Like my doorbell has weird batteries.
Oh yeah. Those are getting better though.
Yeah.
Apparently. I read that today.
I also
somewhere.
I only have AA and AAA rechargeables. I should get 9 volts. I mean, I have like a bunch of stomp boxes and stuff. I mean, I don't really use them that much anymore, but
I don't remember the last time I actually used a battery in any of my stomp boxes. Having a power brick for those is amazing.
Yeah, I've got so many weird ones though. They're all over the place. It's not like all Boss or something.
But to your point about batteries having like different amperage or voltage or whatever it is. I noticed on my H6, like my Zoom H6 recorder, I'm using it right now. I don't often use it, the actual batteries. I have batteries in there, but usually it's plugged into my PC and being powered by that. But it has a setting within the options where you can choose what type of batteries you're using.
Yeah.
More for it just to know like how much life is left in the battery, not necessarily to change how it works or anything.
Yeah, I think I've seen that too. We at work, we have a Zoom H2N or something like that.
It's pretty neat. But let's get into the first story. Since
one last thing. I have a friend who's a crazy battery nerd, and years ago he used to like scare off girls at parties because he'd like start talking about batteries.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah. It's one thing being one of those people. I definitely can be that person in certain situations where I start rambling off about something. Hopefully nothing too political, and I know I definitely put off a lot of people on certain occasions. But batteries, man, that's special. Yeah. That's a niche. I like that. I want to talk to this guy. We should have him on as guest. We can talk about batteries.
Yeah. Maybe not, though.
Yeah. Scare away the few listeners we have. By the way, I meant to mention this at the beginning of the podcast. Thanks you to the new listeners who come to the show every week. Looking at the numbers, there's more people listening every week, and that's really cool. So thanks for listening, and welcome if this is your first time listening to Off and On Again. So the first story we got here, this is from Forbes.com, like I mentioned in the intro. Google surveillance. Matt, you posted this one, and I know you've been a pretty, I don't want to say proponent, but definitely someone who's de-Googled their life in certain ways. So I want you to lead this one, if you will.
Okay. Well, speaking as somebody who's not really an expert on this, okay, so I'm going to try to summarize this the best I know how. So with, I don't know, some version of iOS, they've made it so everybody who posts an app on there has to be this sort of like nutritional label of privacy on every app. And, it like they basically have to say in every way that they collect a user's data, what they do with it, what kinds of data they collect and all that. There have been some sort of theories recently that isn't it weird how Google hasn't really updated the Gmail app for months on iOS and things like that. It's now, I guess they've now updated Chrome, and it's sort of come to light exactly how much data they're collecting about you through Chrome. And, well, I don't what they're doing with it, who knows. But, by far, Chrome is a browser that is, really, I mean, it's just collecting everything about you. And when you use a browser, you do so much through it.
Like everything, almost everything
through a browser, especially on a PC. I mean, this data came from mobile. There's probably going to be some more things on mobile that they can collect about you than on a PC, because it also has, it moves around. So it can know where you're going, where you've been. Every time you load up a page on Chrome, if you're at the grocery store or at your work or at your home, it seems like it's giving that information back to Google. So this was written up in Forbes. There was also in the New York Times. There was something about it. Personally, I'm trying not to insert my own opinion too much. I'm probably somebody who's a little bit oversensitive to maybe not oversensitive isn't the right word, but I'm very aware of my online privacy, and I don't like these companies just collecting all this stuff about me for almost no apparent reason. Like I understand, okay, Google Home needs to know my location so it can tell me what the weather is. But if you take your Google Home device and say, okay, stop knowing stuff about me, and it's like, okay, and then you say, hey, G, like, what's the weather? It's like, oh, well, you told me I couldn't know things about you, so I can't tell you the weather. Like, it's really awful. They, it's kind of either collect everything about you or like useless product, basically.
Yeah, I found that especially on my phone as a Samsung, right? So using Android, just turning off the location services, the phone is constantly trying to get you to turn it back on all the time. And that's why Google Maps when you're driving is so good, because they're using so many people's phones to collect that data on where people are and directing you in the best possible path to get to where you're going, which is a good thing in certain ways, but also they can use this data to, I guess, yeah, like you said, create this profile of you. And that's what's happening here. They're creating an integrated profile of you. They know who you are. They know what you like. They can pinpoint what, gender you are, what kind of things you're going to end up more likely to buy and more likely to click on. And I'm just worried about where that's going to go. So with them having so much money on the table, it's unlikely they're going to change the behavior, because they're raking in over $100 billion plus in ad spend. That's more. That's where most of their money comes from at Google. And it's the same with Facebook. And it's alarming. And it's something I've been thinking about more recently. But when you posted this, I said, okay, it's time to do this, because I've been so. Okay, I'm gonna say I've been lazy, being like, oh, I'm not gonna switch off Chrome. I gotta move all my saved stuff, all whatever login stuff, and I gotta say,
that's another mistake.
Yeah. Yes,
saving
absolutely.
all your logins to your Chrome thing. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I haven't been doing that for a while, but I just meant like, anyways, doesn't matter. How easy it is to switch. It's incredibly easy. Okay, I installed Firefox, and there's a setting in Firefox that moves all your bookmarks over in one click.
Yep.
And I'm not kidding. It took me less than 5 minutes to be running in Firefox and feel like nothing's changed for the most part. Like, other than the symbol and the little bit different design differences, it's all there. There's no reason you need to be on Chrome anymore, I don't think.
I've been using Firefox for a few years now. I when Chrome came out, it was like, it was really cool. And they're like, it, takes a bit more memory at the start, but ultimately the performance is better. And they seemed like the king for a while. But a few years ago, Firefox updated. I think they called it Firefox Quantum or something like that. And I haven't looked back. I love Firefox. I use Chrome only for testing websites and things like that. You want to make sure it looks good on every browser or what have you.
Yep.
But I love Firefox on the desktop. On mobile, I use Safari because I use iOS. I understand that Apple collects info about you. I just don't at this time. I mean, it may change in the future the way it changed with Google and Facebook and all that. But at the moment, I don't really think they're part of the problem. Again, this is just my opinion. They just seem to be a company whose focus is privacy. They charge a premium for their devices and for their services, and they don't turn around and sell your info. Google is giving you everything for free because you're the product,
Yeah.
They take all this stuff about you and they sell it to advertisers.
Yeah.
Or they sell your profile. And even if it's not even if it's not fully personally identifiable, you can still be identified. Like, there's just, using deduction and cross sections and stuff. You can still, even in anonymized data, people can be figured out.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that I don't really have much authority to talk about, but I've heard people who do know what they're talking about say that. I believe them.
Yeah. I think it's pretty clear too. They even mention or point to it in this article when they talk about the list of things that Google has that are, they're focused on privacy, and conveniently Chrome is not in that list. So it's something to be concerned about, I think. It's not like somebody's going to come knocking on your door and be like, oh, you were looking this thing up. Not like that. It's just, I personally feel like we need to get back this control of our data. And I don't know if that's going to be happening anytime soon with the current trends. But on a different point, somewhat related, is search engines. So obviously Google is the biggest search engine, but the problem I've been having with it recently is having trouble finding certain things that I'm looking for. When I go to search for whatever it is, it doesn't seem to be showing up very easily, and I'm wondering why that is. And I think it has to do with the way they curate the searches and in the way that other search engines don't really do that. So I recently tried DuckDuckGo, and I've had much more success with that. I encourage you to try it out and just do some side by sides with like Google and DuckDuckGo. Maybe even going for certain controversial topics and seeing what shows up on either one. You might be surprised to see what shows up on either one or doesn't show up on certain ones. I'm not saying I'm a fan of this person or anything, but just for the sake of research, I typed in Alex Jones in both of them. And guess what showed up on Google? It was Wikipedia and a bunch of like news articles saying Alex Jones banned. What shows up on DuckDuckGo? His website, InfoWars. Again, not affiliated or supporting this in any way, but I'm just as an example. It's curated. It's not just a search engine just to show you what's there and what's going to show up. They have a say in what's going to pop up in your face.
Yeah, at times, though, that is very helpful. The things that I haven't really been able to get rid of, and I've tried, is Google search is just, I think it's like heads and tails above everything else. I've tried DuckDuckGo, Ecosia, Bing. I just, they work fine for a while, but then you put in something. Like, I don't know, the way at least I've been like accustomed to searching is you just put in a bunch of random words together, and Google does a really good job of finding it. The only alternative to Google is, well, okay, it's okay. Let me take a step back for a second. So there's this webpage. It's called startpage.com. And 1 million years ago, they licensed or bought Google's search engine technology. Like before Google was Google, like the megalodon or whatever. What's the word? What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
The monolithic.
There you go. That's good.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Before they were like enormous, they sold their search technology or whatever to this company called startpage.com. So if you go to startpage.com, you can search Google, but like it's not Google. Do you know what I mean? It uses Google's technology, but it's not Google.
Startpage.com.
Yeah. It's something you can check out and see how that works for you. I should actually start using that again. There's something in the back of my head. Gmail. Gmail's tough to get rid of. Been using it for like 16 years.
Do you use it as like a proper email address for a lot of your things?
What do you mean?
Like that's your go-to email service. That's what you're saying?
My personal email is Gmail. The thing that is really hard to replicate is the sorting of emails, like the automatic sorting of emails into multiple tabs. You know what I mean? Do you use Gmail?
I have it for whatever Android type login Gmail, but I don't use it really. It's there though.
Okay.
And I have one for, tliterate@gmail.com if you want to ask us questions. But those are the only ones I use. My personal ones I use for Outlook or live.ca or whatever.
Oh, I see. So Gmail has these 3 different tabs, and it will, actually you can set 4 tabs. But it like automatically sorts things that are coming into stuff that's actually for you, stuff that is like social related. So,
oh my God.
like, notifications from YouTube or whatever, or I don't know, Facebook or Instagram. And then there's another tab called promotions, which would be all, like junk mail or companies emailing you saying, come back to medieval times. There's 2-for-1 sale, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like, it's really good. Yeah, I understand you could make filters and stuff on other mail platforms, but you'd have to do it manually, and you'd have to get every single company that emails you. You'd have to, as their email comes in, or maybe ahead of time, say, anytime I get an email from this person, put it into this folder or something like that. That's how you do it on Outlook.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine going back to an inbox that is all just everything in one thing. I know if it's in the first tab, it's going to be like important. It's going to be my family contacting me. It's going to be something urgent, most likely. If it's in the social tab, it's going to be pretty much like I have this RSS feed thing that notifies me when, my favorite YouTubers upload a video. Used to come directly from YouTube, but they decided nobody uses email notifications anymore, so they stopped it, which is not the case. Lots of people used it. That's the only way I get my subscriptions. And then, all the other like sort of junk mail. I mean, it's not like spam, but it's kind of like, Netflix saying, oh, here's here's some dumb drama that's coming to Netflix in April or whatever, like that kind of stuff, where it's like, maybe I'll flip through it, but I really don't want it cluttering up my inbox.
So, have you used Windows Mail?
Yeah.
I believe they do separate it, but I don't know how they do it. It seems like a big jumble. Like you have focused in other tabs, and I don't know how it separates them. It just makes it more confusing for me. I have to go to look at both of them because it seems like things I want are in other, and also in focused, and stuff I don't want are in both of them, and I don't know how it separates them.
Yeah, same. I do. I use like I have a Microsoft 365 account for work. And I don't really get how the focused and not really works either.
Yeah.
The Gmail implementation is really good. I would really love to get away from Gmail though. I've kind of looked at Proton Mail. I made like a starter account. If anybody knows anything that has that functionality, it doesn't have to be free. I'm willing to pay for it. I'd love to get away from Gmail. Although in that article, what's his name? Sundar Pichai? Or is that the Microsoft guy? No, Satya Nadella is the Microsoft guy. Sundar Pichai said that, he said, who knows if it's true, that the products where you largely store your own personal information, such as Gmail, Photos, and Drive, are not ones that they like harvest your personal data from or something like that. Which I don't know. You could believe him or not. Let's see what his actual quote. We don't use information in apps where you primarily store personal content, such as Gmail, Drive, Calendar, and Photos, for advertising purposes, period.
Period. Said and done.
Yeah, I guess
Hopefully
so.
That's actually the case. Yeah. Hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, it would be very nice if that was the case. I would question why Amazon suddenly doesn't, like for the past year, I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, it's driven me insane. When you get an email notification from Amazon about your purchase or something's going to be delivered, it doesn't say the products anymore. And supposedly this is because they don't want, Google knowing all of your purchases and then being able to like advertise based on that data. Do you have that situation with your Outlook? Like when you buy something from Amazon, does it say you bought toenail fungus remover or something? Like for me, it's just like
me see.
information about your purchase. It was $37.99, and that's it. And I'm like, what was that? Or, you know, something is being shipped. You paid $17 for it. I'm like, okay, what did I buy again? And you have to click through and go to the Amazon webpage.
I don't order a lot from Amazon, but let me see. Okay, here's one. It's shipping. It says it's shipped. Doesn't say anything about the product though.
Yeah.
No.
Like about a year ago, they got rid of that. It's just like the worst. I hate it so much because I have all these things. It's like, you know, your guaranteed delivery date, blah, 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 and the amount, but not what it is.
What did I order? Oh, I ordered a teleprompter. And my God.
What?
My God, what have I been doing for the past however many longs I've been doing this YouTube thing? What? Oh my God, it's a game changer, man. It's amazing. It was like $150. You put your iPad on it with your script mirrored, and you press play, and you record your video, and you don't have to keep looking down or try to remember what the hell you wrote. And you just read it, and you do the thing, and it's amazing.
So it's
oh my God.
So it's just like a two-way mirror or something, or a one-way mirror?
Yeah, it has like a shroud over top of the camera lens.
Okay, that's cool.
One way, yeah. And then it just, you know, reflective, single layer glass that has that non-deflective second layer, so no ghosting. And it's a game changer. It didn't only make my video recording much faster, because I didn't have to keep redoing the same lines over because I keep messing up, and that makes the editing easier. And it's just like, oh, it's amazing. If you do any kind of recording stuff where you have a script, I don't always have a script, but when I do, oh man, get one. It's awesome.
There's an app. What app do you use with that?
It was on iOS. I just paid for it. It was the first one that came up on the
I have
Apple
one.
iStore or whatever.
I don't know the name of it yet because it's re-downloading. But it follows, like it scrolls automatically. Like it uses voice recognition to scroll the page automatically.
Oh wow! I don't know if it has. I haven't used it that much.
Prompt Smart.
Prompt Smart.
Yeah, I use it when I like give speeches or whatever. I use that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's so cool. Like it's so nice.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to write that down because that's the problem I've been having. Because I've only used it the one time yet, but just like getting the right speed, it's pretty tricky. So that's smart. Cool. Okay,
yeah,
I'll look
very
into that.
good. And I've tested it, like in front of a room of people. So I'm very happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can't pay somebody to do it for you, I guess you could have like Bluetooth something connected to your iPad or whatever and scroll it. But then again, if it's just doing it automatically, that's way better.
Yeah, like I have my iPad on the lectern or whatever, and anytime I look down, like I'm at the right place, which is great because you really don't want to be reading directly off of it when you're giving a speech. Maybe a little different in your teleprompter situation, but and actually, I don't know if this can reverse, but because you probably need it mirrored, right? Yeah, so maybe look into that before you pay for it.
Yeah, I have to look at the app a bit more too, because this one might even have that feature. I've barely used it. But I think it's time to move on to the next
you can mirror.
subject.
You can mirror, sorry.
Okay, cool. Unless you want anything else to say about this Google situation and their privacy or lack thereof.
I don't know. In terms of desktop browsers, there's no real reason to use Chrome. I don't see anything fancy about it, anything different. The only time you'll hear, you may hear some web developers complain about people not using Chrome. Because they say like, oh, well, my 3D rendering doesn't work so well in non-Chrome browsers. But, you got to adapt. And, really, when we're thinking about the internet, or at least the dream of the internet, having one kind of browser is I mean, it's not really going to help with a nice, like an open internet, basically. Because if everybody's using Chromium, then Google kind of controls the internet, which is something we don't want.
Can you use other browsers on Apple devices?
Yeah.
You can. Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know. I know Safari's probably just fine. That's what I use when I use the iPad.
Yeah, I have Firefox on here too, but I don't know. Safari, it's more nicely integrated, probably the same way Chrome might be on an Android.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next story. This is from Tom's Hardware, and this has to do with something that's been going on for a while, but it's happening more. And somebody left a comment in our show notes here that I like. So this is from Tom's Hardware. Like I said, Asus prepares for another round of graphics card price hikes. And the first thing you have to see about this thing, please go look it up, is this wonderful, wonderful rendition from Asus. And whoever's doing the actual marketing or graphic design, it's fantastic. This image has like their graphics card in the middle with like the AIO built in and a few off the side, literally in the mountains, like giants coming down from the heavens.
Yeah,
it's
the
wonderful.
Clouds have parted and these four titans have descended upon the earth.
It's awesome. But this is a really short article. Obviously not much to talk about other than the fact that, yes, if graphics cards weren't expensive enough, they're going to be more expensive in the near future. Yay.
Yeah, that's great. They weren't expensive enough. I'm kidding.
well, like we talked about last week, the Asus 3080 Strix, I think it was almost $1,500 on Newegg.com. So this doesn't say exactly how much they're expecting an increase, but I could expect it to be somewhere around 10%. So what do you think, Matt? Do you think it's going to be that bad? Extra $150 or whatever that will be?
I don't know. I'm so tired. I'm so glad I got one.
You don't have to think about it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, except for this this recurring nightmare that is this podcast where we have to talk about the every week.
Hey, we don't talk about that. I gotta type that in there so I can bleep that again. What's the time here? 1 hour 09. Okay. Sorry, I made a mistake though. It's $1119.99 that it says right now. This is on Newegg.com. So that's a USD for the Asus ROG Strix GeForce RTX 3080. So I'm expecting at least a 10% bump. It's already just getting insane because, like I said last week, that's already the price at what it was for that same card in Canada was around that price originally when the 3080 was first released back in the fall. So it's not getting any better. If you can get yourself a graphics card and you need one, don't wait up. Just get it, because guess what? These prices are going to stay like this for this foreseeable future, and I wouldn't expect the prices to go down until next year at the earliest.
Yeah, it's been a weird time. Like the 3080 launched like to purchase on September 17th of last year.
Yeah.
That's like over half a year ago. So we've been in this horrible Groundhog Day situation. Every day we wake up and there's still no supplies.
Nope.
The prices keep getting worse. Like I mentioned, when I bought my card, like I was watching, I had purchased one and I was checking their website to see, I guess it was a pre-order at the time, to see what like if the website was showing stock or whatever, so I could, kind of guess that maybe my card would be coming soon. And like the price was steadily going up. Like every few days it would go up by $5 or something. It was crazy. And when they didn't have my card, the guy from the store contacted me and said like, "Oh, okay, well, we have this Sapphire one in stock. Do you want that? And this is the price." So I checked it out on their site. Looked good. And by the time, I sent him an email, and by the time he got back to me, it had already gone up by another $15 or something. which is just nuts. But I mean, yeah, he gave me the original quoted price, which is nice, although it was like extremely inflated already.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of crazy. At a certain point, I mean, for the consumer, it's not exactly transparent. Like, we don't know if, the guy who makes the DisplayPort plugs or whatever start charging more because there's more demand. Like, at any point of the supply chain and distribution and retail, anybody can jack up the price at any point. I wonder if they're just all doing it.
I think that is the case for sure. And in this article, they cite that it's reported, this is more of a rumor than anything, that the reason why they're looking to increase the prices is because they're having to pay extra to source the components. And that's obviously because the demand is so high. But I don't know exactly what that is, because we already knew that sourcing chips from TSMC and Samsung has been terrible because, they're at 100% capacity and you can't just snap your fingers and build a whole new foundry. It takes a long time. There was another story that we had in here we're not really going to talk about, but TSMC is looking to spend $100 billion to expand their production for the future. So that'll happen. It's just going to take time, right? So I suspect that this is just small increments going up on different components, specifically having to do with the actual chips, and they're just passing that price hike onto the consumers like they have to. And I suspect that other companies are going to follow suit.
Yep.
So it is what it is. So if you can buy a graphics card now, if you can find one and you need one, just do it. Don't hold your breath, because it is what it is, man. It sucks. But
yeah, well,
just got to bite it.
Even I think Tesla uses TSMC for the chips in their cars.
I believe it. Yeah.
I wonder if if they're gonna be affected. I don't think I've heard much about that. But
well, we have heard about other car makers having problems sourcing chips, even for ICE vehicles. So
yeah, but I'm sure it's probably not TSMC chips in your Ford F-150 or whatever.
Not yet.
Yeah, this is the like the self-driving hardware or whatever. I assume it's some kind of like GPU sort of thing, some kind of parallel processor. Anyway.
Yeah, I wonder how much power's in there. It's got to be pretty decent.
Well, so there was an upgrade for, I think, Model S and X, which are like the highest end Teslas, and it was to basically replace the onboard computer or whatever, the screen and all that kind of stuff. And what's his name? Oh, man, Elon Musk said you can play Cyberpunk on it, and people were like, "Oh yeah, right." But it's like it was a $10,000 upgrade. Like, there's gonna be some serious hardware in there. I wouldn't be surprised if you could play Cyberpunk on there, or maybe it was. Yeah, I think it was Cyberpunk. It was either that or The Witcher. But
I'd believe that. Yeah,
I mean, you can already play games on your Tesla screen. They're just, they're more simple. They're more like mobile games.
Yeah, I've only been in a Tesla once. It was a Model 3, and I was really impressed on how snappy and responsive the screen appeared to work. It was just like a really nice, snappy laptop, as far as I could tell, or a tablet. I'd like to see some of that. I have to look into it.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if I'm gonna get a 3 or a Y. Been on the fence for a while.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we're at that point where you can reliably, or at least be confident in switching over to an electric vehicle.
Well, I've had one for 3 years or whatever, so I'm not really worried. Let me just say, as somebody who's owned an electric vehicle for a while, like, all of your fears go away after 2 to 3 weeks. Like,
fears of like distance and all that stuff.
All your fears, they all melt away. Unless you're somebody who drives 200 miles a day or something like that, or not 200, like 400 miles a day or something like crazy. you're probably going to be worried a lot of the time about your battery charge if you don't have someplace to charge at your destination. But for 99% of people and 99% of your driving, like it's just like a magic car that just goes. It's just a really fast car with a low center of gravity and amazing traction. And like everything about it is just awesome. And you're not constantly sitting there worrying about your battery dying. I mean, the only time you ever have a thought like that is if you're on an extremely long journey. Like we drove to Ottawa, and it wasn't a worry. It was just more like, okay, well, we need to plan where we're going to charge on the way. And there were several options. It's like, do we stop in Belleville or Kingston kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But there's plenty of chargers out there. Like it's not like you just jump in. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably techie enough to figure it all out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that electric vehicles are only practical for like 95% of people. It's too bad it couldn't be more.
Well, no, I would say more. Like unless you live in Ohio and you work in New Hampshire, like I don't really know how far these
Sorry,
states
I was
are
trying to
from
be
each other.
sarcastic. I don't think it came through.
Okay. Yeah, it didn't.
No,
but I think it's more.
incredible.
It's many more. It's crazy
Yeah.
people. Like there was, this. I knew somebody who, like, I live very close to Toronto, like basically on the border of Toronto, and there was somebody who commuted from like north of Barrie every day, like, which is I don't even
Like an
know.
hour and a half.
Yeah, something like that. Like that person would probably still be okay, but it's like it's getting to the point where you're definitely going to need a level 2 installed at home. But like I just have normal level 1 charger. I can charge at one of my work's offices, which I mean I don't go there anymore, but I don't really drive anymore because I'm working at home. But it depends on where you live, but I'm in the Greater Toronto area, and there's more chargers than I could ever need. And I'm like 95% of my charging is done in a normal year when there's not a pandemic and I'm stuck at home. Like almost all of my charging is done at home and sometimes at work. If your workplace has chargers, like that's a huge, I don't know. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's something I haven't experienced, and I'm looking forward to. Like when I moved, so I'm originally from the East Coast, not East Coast, sorry, but like Ontario, East Coast,
Upper Canada.
Yeah, and we had 2 cars, but when we moved to out west, live in a big city, we don't need it. The transportation here is, for Canadian standards, pretty good. Other places in the world are much better, but anyways, it's fine.
C-bus.
We only need 1 car. We can, pardon me?
C-bus.
The C bus. We got Sky Trains, aka subways / monorail type things. Not monorails, but the biking routes are fantastic. Biking in the city, as far as I've lived in, has been very, very good. Lots of dedicated biking routes and stuff like that. But I've set up a savings account since we moved here because we expected to move back at some point in the past, really. But it's growing. So as it grows, I'm like, maybe I could just afford, an actual Tesla Model 3 when we move back, when we need 2 cars again. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
How much do they run these days anyways? They got to be, what, for 40, 50?
Yeah, I was looking at them today. No, it's definitely, well, I can only quote you Canadian prices.
Yeah.
But actually, well, I was looking at the long range. Let's see if we go basic, white paint, 18-inch wheels, black interior, no full self-driving, 52,990 Canadian.
Okay. That's up there. That's a nice car. That thing goes. I know a lot of people have problems with them and they're like panels and stuff and this and that.
Yeah, that's a worry. I actually want.
Okay. Can I rant a little bit just for a second?
Go ahead.
Okay, so I like I said, we talked about this in the pre-show, talking about Reddit and stuff.
Right.
I don't remember. Anyways, I'm subscribed. That Tesla r/Tesla is one that I'm subscribed to. I peek in every once in a while, and also in other subreddits or different places where people Motors? Talk whatever it is, talking about Teslas and people poo-pooing on Tesla for their quality and stuff, being like, oh, can't do that. Well, I don't see any other complaints about Tesla other than the frickin' panels. Like, oh, I'm sorry, the panels didn't line up properly. Oh, I got to write that car company off. Like, oh, sorry, can't buy it. Like, really? Like, what? I'm sure there's other things and issues people have, but like the majority I've seen of people actually owning these cars are very good experiences.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean, it's you know, I'm subscribed to the Bolt, like the Chevy Bolt subreddit as well, and it's largely people just complaining. Like, there's not a lot of talk on there. It's that people showing off, like, oh, check out this new like 2020 blue paint color, and everybody's like, wow. But otherwise, it's, you know, people with dumb questions. Sorry. You know, asking like, is this a good price? Stuff like that. Like, should I buy this 2017 one with so many miles on it? Blah, blah, blah. Or it's people like complaining about this or that. And, you know, if you're happy, unless you're like crazy happy and like you just picked up your car, you're probably not going to write like a diatribe on Reddit. You're just going to like live your life, right? But if you're really angry or like I actually spent a lot of today watching Tesla videos because, you know, my wife and I were talking about our next car because my lease is ending on my Bolt. And she's like, are we going to get a Y or a 3? Because we're also getting a Cybertruck later on. It's just the timing didn't really work out. Like, by the time we get the Cybertruck, it'll probably be the end of the lease on her Prius Prime. So we've been joking about how like she's this little Asian woman, and just thinking of her driving like a massive, like brutal, like like video game tank is just so hilarious to me. But yeah, she's like, are we going to get a Y or a 3? And I'm like, I don't know. And you start going through a lot of these Tesla YouTubers. They're an interesting breed of people. Like Tesla YouTubers. Tesla. Well, that's what Musk says. But
he's South African. He's weird.
He's also, I mean, he went to school at Western.
Did he go to Kingston?
He went to Western. Yeah.
I thought he went to Queens in Kingston. King's College is in London, Ontario by Western.
Was it Queen? Where's Queens?
Queens is in Kingston. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it was. I
right.
thought it was, or maybe it is Western. I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
I'll find out.
What were we talking about?
Tesla.
Tesla. I know that much.
You're talking about your wife driving the Cybertruck.
Oh, right. We were talking about Tesla YouTubers. These are a really interesting breed of people. I think car reviewers in general are an interesting breed of people. They're the only people on a planet who get into a car and start like knocking on the side panels and stuff. Like, I've been in cars my whole life. I've never like knocked on the dashboard and been like, I can't believe they use this kind of right. Yeah, I can't believe they use this kind of plastic on the dashboard, because listen to how it sounds when you knock on it, which is something you would never ever do in the life of your car. Anyways, Tesla YouTubers, like, there are people who camp in their Teslas, so you will always see like a new Tesla will come out and they're like, I got my hands on the new Model Y 2021, blah blah blah. Let's see if I can lie down in it. And you just like, it's this awkward like 6-foot man lying diagonally in the trunk of a car. Like, I really wonder what the neighbors think. Like, and there's so many of them. They all get in and lie down. It's like, oh, I gotta make sure the bodies will fit in here. Anyway, a lot of them are extremely nitpicky and they're looking. I don't know. They've just done like my car gets a ding in it. I'm like, that sucks, but I move on with my life. These people are like, they're putting like weird ceramic coatings and like clear 3M stickers on their bumpers and like spending so much on.
Well, okay. As you're saying this, it's kind of maybe comparing it to someone like us with our PCs versus someone who just buys one. That's their hobby. They're really into it,
Yeah, but it's more, it's more of like a covetous relationship. Like they really like worship this car, and like they probably spend more time polishing the wheel hubs or something than just enjoying the car. I don't know. It's kind of weird. I just noticed a lot of them are like that, just very about the details of their car. I guess that's probably why they start up a YouTube channel. But yeah, I've also noticed a lot of bias in them, especially like when it comes to their own cars. Like all Model 3 owners will tell you everything that's wrong with the Model Y kind of thing. So I found a bit of that had clouded my vision in the past. So I went back and sort of watched more reviews to see, well, this person isn't actually mentioning this thing at all, and neither is this person. So maybe it's just this one guy who really didn't want to like the Model Y because he had spent so much money like painting artificial ceramic coating on his Model 3. I don't know. It's just weird. Strange.
Yeah, I think it's like you said, it's a certain breed of people, and it's kind of a fascination and a fanaticism that you don't necessarily see in a lot of other places, but I can understand where it comes from. Because, okay, I've never been like a huge car person. Like, I like racing games, but I've never really been into them as much as I am right now. And that's because I've actually gone ahead and spent the money to invest in it a little bit. But I've never owned like a nice car. Like the car we have right now, it's like a Honda CR-V from like 2013. Gets the job done, but like you get a ding in it, whatever. We never wash the exterior ever. We've had the interior cleaned once in a while. It gets dirty, you go bring it to a shop, pay a few $100 and they do a deep clean. I like that, but like I don't really care that much. But I could imagine if I had a lot of money and like even like say somehow I became very wealthy somehow. My job definitely wouldn't make that happen. But anyways, I would probably get into cars a bit more, and maybe I would lean into this fanaticism a bit more too. Like I can imagine spending, $5,000-$10,000 on kind of a quote beater to take to the track every once in a while and have some fun.
Yeah.
But having like a luxury vehicle that you drive around on a daily basis, I don't know. Like the most I've experienced that is there used to be a company here in Vancouver called Car2Go. They ceased operation, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. Mm-hmm. For whatever reason, financial reasons, which is disappointing because I really liked using like their smart cars to get around the city. If I wasn't using my car, very convenient. But they also had Mercedes. They had like a 4-door sedan, and they also had like a 4-door, almost like a Model Y size car. I don't know which models they were, whatever. But they were nice. Like you get inside, you get the paddle shifters, get the leather seats. It feels nice, but at the same time, I didn't have any desire to actually like buy a car like that. I still don't. Like I don't know. That doesn't really strike me like something I really need or really want for that matter.
Yeah, that's kind of what I like about the Cybertruck is that it's completely the opposite end of that. It's like you don't really have to worry about the paintings or anything because there's no paint.
Yeah. It's very DeLorean, but on a whole new level, really, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the DeLorean was stainless steel as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I really like. I mean, my current car, the Chevy Bolt, it's great. It's just it's starting to feel a tiny bit too small. It is fairly narrow, but it has a really high ceiling because it has a very low center of gravity, so it can offset the height. So it's kind of weird that it feels very spacious, but your elbows are still a little bit cramped. But the biggest problem, I would say, is that it's front wheel drive, and it's got more power than the eco tires can handle. So
does it have relatively thin tires?
They're 215s.
215.
They're not that thin. They're pretty wide, I would say, for a car of its size. I think it probably has a bit to do with the stopping power you would need, because this car is 30% heavier than a normal car of its size.
Yeah,
due to the battery and stuff. It's great. It's just I wish you could use the power more, because the tires are just. I mean, it's a front wheel drive car, and I mean, unless the conditions are absolutely perfect, the wheels just spin like every time, and I don't want to I don't want my tires to start smoking and screaming or whatever every time I want to just go a little fast.
No,
it's not really that extreme, but it is a problem. So that's one of the main reasons I wanted Tesla, because I wanted all wheel drive, especially here in the winter. You really all wheel drive. I mean, I haven't yet experienced it, but it should be pretty nice. I mean, definitely in my Bolt, well, I mean, like any two-wheel drive car, sometimes you get a little stuck.
Yes, anybody who lives in somewhere snowy has experienced that in some fashion, I'm sure. I have a question for you, though. I'd like to talk about this topic, and we're totally off script right now. We have one other specific story to talk about. We might even skip that. It's up. I don't know. What do you think about that, Matt? I want to continue talking about this. We might get to it. Well, anyways, Let's just keep talking. So I have a question for you about Tesla specifically. One thing is that the Cybertruck has a yoke. I just think that looks awesome. But the main thing I wanted to talk about is the whole self-driving package. So if you don't know, when you buy a Tesla, you have the option to pay for the self-driving. And it's like $10,000 or something like that. Otherwise, it just has basic like lane keeping and radar, cruise control and stuff like that. Is that right? I believe that's right.
It depends. It depends on which Tesla. The 3 and the Y have autopilot, which is, I mean, it's it'll stay in its lane. It'll steer by itself. It's adaptive cruise control. It's pretty good. It's years ago, seeing those videos of people on the highway just like with their hands off, being like, "Oh my God, the car's driving itself." That was autopilot. Yeah. So, yeah, the full self.
So not full self-driving.
Full self-driving is where you can, on the Google Maps or whatever built into the Tesla, say, drive to grandma's house, and the car will just go, and it'll stop at stoplights and make all the right turns and all that kind of stuff. So that's an upgrade.
Is that fully functional yet? That is.
It's currently in like the main release channel. It is, what do they call it? Okay. It'll do like from exit to exit on the highway. Like you can put it on as soon as you get on the highway on ramp, and it'll do all the navigating, but then you have to take control over once you get back to city streets. Full self-driving is in beta right now. There's a lot of people posting videos, and that will actually drive around town and recognize stoplights and stop signs and other stuff.
Okay, well, here on their website, for example, if you go to the Model 3, one of the options when you're selecting the vehicle, it has full self-driving capability for $10,600. This is on the Canadian website, and it has listed here: navigate on autopilot, auto lane change, auto park, summon, self-driving computer, traffic light, and stop sign control. So the thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, and it's caused a lot of debates online as far as I've seen, is that people think that since the car has that capability when you buy it, even if you don't choose it at the time you buy it, you should still be able to use it. Because when you can actually just go into the app, my friend who owns a Model 3 showed me, because he didn't pay for it. He showed me you can just go in the car and go to the self-driving capability, and you can go right there while you're in the car and order it from the tablet inside the car for whatever, like the $10,000.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Like, I've seen a lot of people saying you should be able to access that. Like, the car can do it. You should be able to do it. Like, why do you have to pay extra for that?
Well, I don't know if this was confirmed or not, but soon it will be like a monthly service you can subscribe to, like $30 a month or something, and you'll have access to it. So you could potentially only subscribe to it when you're going on a vacation or something, or a road trip. I don't know. I don't really know why it's an add-on. If they're really trying to make the world safer and the roads safer, it should be in every car, right? Unless, is this just a luxury? I don't know.
I think unless all cars have it, it's not the most ideal. I mean, it's definitely helpful, especially when you're talking about auto braking.
Yeah, but it can do that regularly.
Exactly.
I mean,
so I think as long as they're implementing those features that are actually going to help you stay safer, included in when you buy the car, that's good. But the thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm probably wrong on this maybe, but because it has the capability of doing that, and considering it's very much a computer in many senses, why do you think you're entitled to software just because you own the device that can run it? That's what my point coming from is. Like, if you have a computer, it's like, oh yeah, it can run Microsoft Word, so Microsoft should just give you that for free. Like, I don't know. I think
it's, there's a lot of data coming into the car. Like, it's being constantly updated with, I mean, the roads of the world are constantly changing. So, it's, I mean, paying that one-time price is paying for the service for the life of the car. Soon they will supposedly change that to a subscription model where you just pay monthly or what have you. But it's not just the car couldn't do it, I don't believe, with never ever connecting to the internet. I think it needs constant downloads and other information to do this properly.
And constant monitoring from people who are actually updating this and analyzing the data too.
Yeah.
And I didn't know about that they might be introducing some kind of subscription format. I think that's much more an easier pill to swallow. And I think a lot of more people are really indulging themselves in those fashions in different ecosystems.
Well, when you buy the car, you get a trial. If you buy the car without the full self-driving, you get a 30-day trial of the service.
Oh, okay.
So you can try it out and see.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's something that I'd want. Not necessarily. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's not something I've tried yet, but I'm sure, like most people, you'd feel a bit sketchy at first.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, the only time I hate driving is on the highway, which is already covered by the autopilot.
That's the thing that I was going to say is, like, if it can lane keep and that adaptive cruise control, I'm a happy camper.
Yeah. We've already got that on our Prius Prime. Although it's much more common. It's not that aggressive in the lane keeping. I don't know. I don't know. It seems like pretty weak in terms of the lane keeping. I don't know if you can turn it up or whatever, but if we're going on a trip, that's our car of choice because it's much easier. The Bolt doesn't have any sort of, at least the trim I got, because I didn't want leather seats as a vegetarian. So I wasn't entitled to the lane keeping feature, which is just so stupid. Like, why? Just, I don't know. Anyway, that's...
No, I am glad that it's becoming more common. Even a friend of mine got a newer Honda CRV and it has lane keeping and adaptive cruise control. It's nice.
Yeah, but the Bolt doesn't. Even the top tier Bolt doesn't have the lane, or the adaptive cruise control. I think actually the new one, like the 2022 one, actually has Super Cruise, which is like I guess it's originally from the Cadillacs. It's another sort of self-driving thing. It's ranked pretty high, like in terms of, I don't know, Consumer Reports tests or whatever.
Who reports on those things? Do you report on those?
On what?
On anything. When they say polls say, it's like, I was never polled. Come on. Who gets polled? Are people getting paid to do these surveys and stuff?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good question to ask.
Well, I mean, like, so when I say it was ranked high, I mean, like, some organization did a test of all of the supposed self-driving features, and I think Cadillac, at least at the point that I read this, probably a couple of years ago, Cadillac Super Cruise ranked higher than Tesla Autopilot in terms of the number of times whatchamacallit, like the driver needed to disengage the autopilot or self-driving because it felt the car was doing something unsafe or whatever.
Yeah, that freaks me out. I've seen a few of those crashes where like the Tesla goes straight into like a barrier or something unexpected. And but I didn't know about this Cadillac. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Cadillac Super Cruise has been around for a while, but now, I think the new Bolt, the 2022 Bolt and Bolt EUV, which is like a slightly bigger version of the Bolt. They both have Super Cruise. It's kind of cool, actually. There's like a glowing light on the top of the steering wheel, which shows you when it's engaged or something like that. It looks kind of cool.
It does look cool. I like that. Awesome. This podcast is brought to you by PIA. That's Private Internet Access. If you don't have a VPN yet, what are you doing? Don't be like me. Protect yourself. Get on the PIA. Make sure that they don't know what you're doing out there on the internets. You can use the affiliate link in the description to get the latest deals from PIA. All right, let's talk about this last story here. We've been running a bit long in the tooth. We got a few more things to talk about here. How about that?
Yeah.
So the next story we have up is from I was just trying to open the link. WCCF Tech. It says Hong Kong Customs seized 300 NVIDIA CMP 30HX mining graphics cards headed to Chinese cryptocurrency farms. So the story doesn't lead to the exact why these are being seized, but they speculate that it is because it is illegal in some places in China to actually run these cryptocurrency mining farms or even crypto mining in general. So yeah, there's a nice picture of these cards, all identical, all lined up with, as Matt and I tried to deduce, whether or not they actually had any ports on the back, because one of the pictures you can kind of see the back plate, and it does have holes in it, but it doesn't appear like there's actually anything soldered onto the PCB, any kind of socket.
Yeah, well, there's one like long rectangular slot which looks like it would be for a DVI port or something, and but there's nothing sticking out, so it couldn't be. So there mustn't be anything there.
Yeah.
I mean, if NVIDIA, if they had their choice, they would want nothing there, right? Because they want to destroy the secondhand market for these things.
Yeah, it's true. It's been shown that people have been able to figure out how to turn these into actually working cards. Not these ones specifically, but I've seen with other cards like this. They've been able to actually turn them into working graphics cards with video output. I wonder if it's even possible with these. I'm sure it is in some fashion, but it probably won't happen for a while until these things are kind of long past their lifespan. I wonder how much all of this is actually worth, though. It's got to be a pretty penny. Here we go. One CMP card, these 30HX, was recently listed for $723 USD. So if we multiply that by 300, we get
how much?
Yeah, $723 USD.
That's insane. That's completely insane.
$216 and $900 US.
Sorry, say that
Almost
again.
$250,000. $216,900.
Okay, but the price of the card again was like $700.
$723.
Oh my god, nobody's gonna buy those.
Somebody's trying to buy them in China.
But like for the oh my god, it's
so
just not a good
money.
deal. Like, what are they?
Oh my god!
Like, I think I'm
talked
sure
about
they can
this.
I think we talked about
They
this
can make
before.
that back.
Yeah, I mean, you can
If
make
they
it
can
back.
make that back
You can
in
make
2
it back
months.
eventually. Not with these. These
What's
cards.
the hash rate? 26. Okay, that's not a very high.
26.
26 mega hash.
Yeah, I don't know. I imagine this is probably like $2 a day or something, maybe, right?
Hash rate of what's the hash rate of 3080? Hash rate of wow. 115? Holy. Okay, wait, no. 80. Oh, I'm getting so many answers. 53? I don't know. Okay, well, a friend of ours, they have a 3080 and a 2080 they've been mining, and they said they made over $400 a month. And I don't know if they're not running those full time. So I don't know how long it would take to actually make that back. And it depends on the market too. You know, Ethereum fluctuates. What is Ethereum worth right now?
I think it's gone up a bit, just a touch. I have a tiny bit.
Wow. 25.90 Canadian. 25.90. Wow, that's mental. Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah, but I think so. This card can do 26 mega hashes per second, which is what I was getting on my AMD RX 570, which is a card I bought for like $170 Canadian. So, I mean, the price difference. That 30HX is $700 American.
How much can you sell that card for right now, though?
Like 300 and something.
Okay.
Like, I just don't, I mean, yeah, these are cards that are available, I guess, to miners. But I mean, if you somehow had a line on some 570s or 580s, you're going to be able to pull that hash rate for less power. I mean, based on my brief experience, it's just that price is crazy.
So not only did this poor bugger get caught with all these cards, but he also paid way too much. That's what you're saying.
I think in general, like, it's just such, we talked about this like last week or the week before. Like, it might make more sense for a miner to get a card. Well, I mean, the 3060 is the hash rate limiter has already been broken, but let's just say it was still working. If they can get these cards and run them at half their potential or whatever, but then resell them when they're done with them or when a new platform comes out, it might make more sense to get like the gaming card because they can resell it, whereas these are just going to be garbage. Yeah,
it's a good point, but with how hard it is, I'm sure, to get them. But that does say it's only from one retailer, so it depends on who they're getting it from.
But if you're somebody who can afford, what was it, like $200,000 worth of cards, you can probably find some other ones. Buy a bunch of 570s for even $400 a piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't really make sense to me.
Well, I guess this person made a mistake, or this consortium or business or whoever is buying up all these cards. Maybe they didn't calculate.
Well, I mean,
properly.
the customs agents in Hong Kong were just doing him a favor. They said, dude, you're so dumb. You should have just bought a bunch of 570s.
You don't want these. These are not good. He made a wrong choice. Yeah, it could be that. But yeah, so I didn't know that. That's what I was surprised by. We talked about earlier, or before that we started the podcast. I didn't know that it was actually illegal in some places. They cite in this article that they blame, I don't know if this is true or not, that it was Chinese cryptocurrency miners that caused the blackouts in Iran and obviously in
Oh,
other
really?
parts in China, it's caused blackouts. That's what it says. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm taking that with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense to me.
Maybe I didn't read the article closely enough. I thought
See,
they said it was in like.
Says here, Chinese miners were also the cause behind severe power outages in Iran and have caused power surges in Inner Mongolia as they try to bypass the limitations on mining imposed by their own country. So maybe they're moving out of the country to mine? I don't know.
That's weird.
Where they get that information.
Who's going to Iran?
Yeah, they don't have a source to that, so I don't know where they're getting that information. But
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a phenomenon right now, and it has been for the past 10 plus years, and I think it's not going to stop anytime soon. This surge in cryptocurrency mining, it's crazy.
It's certainly trendy.
Yeah, but let's talk about something a bit different and maybe a little bit uplifting and fun. Like one of my favorite things to do, and that's responding to listener mail. So thank you to those of you who reach out to us here on Off and On Again. You can go ahead and message us just on the YouTube videos of this podcast, and we can answer it here, or send a message to me on Twitter, Instagram, or the email address tilliterate@gmail.com. So we got the first one here. This is from Grantley on YouTube. He asked, what are some of your favorite places to go for tech info? Obviously, AMD, because that's what we talked about last week. But what are other YouTube channels or websites? Matt, what do you think? What are your favorite places to go?
So many to list. YouTube channels, Gamers Nexus, Linus Tech Tips. There are other ones who I don't really watch, but they're probably very good. Hardware Unboxed. Jay's 2 Cents, I guess. I'm actually not really a big fan of his. Other YouTube channels. There are a lot of good ones out there. There really are a lot of people doing a lot of good work. And I'm sorry there aren't more that come to mind. Those are the most popular ones that I just mentioned. Tech Illiterate. Tech Illiterate. Forgot about that
not
guy.
Where you should go for news, I suppose. Maybe, I guess, now with the podcast, but I mean, my videos are usually just me,
well, I mean, it's not. Stuff. It's not really all news. They ask for tech info.
Tech info, yeah.
There is definitely a lot of spin and opinions on all the channels I just mentioned, but that's okay. Especially the more you watch, hopefully the more differing opinions you can get, so you can make your own. I mean, if you're just watching one channel all the time, you're probably going to be pulled a certain way. When it comes to websites, I don't know. For when we're trying to find stuff for the show, we go to a lot of pages. I can't say I'm extremely happy with all of them. What do you think? There's like a lot of garbage articles and like the top news article is like, get a discount on Windows 10 keys. It's like,
Yeah, so in my browser, I have a folder called Tech News, and I just middle click it, and they all open up. They are WCCF Tech, Tom's Hardware, Tech Radar. That's one that I need to take out of there for that reason. PC Gamer, Anantech. Yeah, those are the ones that I typically open. And like you said, there's definitely a lot of fluff articles that pop up. It's like Tech Radar, man. It is all like, oh, what's the best laptop? What's this new Apple iMac has a much bigger display than last time. Just definitely not the stuff that I'm interested in, and I don't know why I still have it in here, because I don't think I've pulled a single article from this website that we've used in the podcast. But ones I really do like are WCCF Tech, Tom's Hardware especially, I do like. But again, there's always fluff stuff in here. You just have to pick the things that you think are interesting. But as far as top website I'd go for is Tom's Hardware, for me at least.
Yeah, I don't really have any loyalty. Tech Power Up is okay as well, although I see the top story is lowest keys off Easter sale, lowest prices ever on genuine software. It's like Windows 10 Pro at $11.55. Like, that's not news, buddy. Get it off. I understand you need to make a living, but that stuff is pretty annoying.
Yeah, it is. But
I used to really like
over.
PCper.com, which is short for PC Perspective. But two of their main people have gone to work for Intel.
Oh. I've never seen this website. Interesting. I mean, it looks like a lot like the other ones.
Yeah, it's just not frequently updated anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of mirroring on a lot of these websites where they'll post very similar articles, like you do on any platform, like YouTube as well. It's going to be a lot of similar videos.
I'll give you a great website. It's not exclusively, PC hardware and stuff, though. It's techmeme.com. It's just sort of like it's all tech news. I mean, there's obviously going to be a lot of stuff about like, the government versus Amazon and the government versus Facebook and the government versus Google, like Epic versus everyone kind of stories. But I think it's a pretty good curated news feed for all things tech. Tech meme.
What decade is this website from?
It's simple. Like, it doesn't need much more.
What's with all the tweet handles and stuff? There's a lot.
I don't know what this one is specifically. I think actually this is called Tech Meme, right? So it's basically stories that are popping up quite a lot.
Oh.
So these tweets would be all journalists or other people.
Okay.
Like, these are all the people talking about it, sort of.
This is good. Okay, yeah, I get you now. So it's like an aggregate. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, this is actually useful. I'll save that one too. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as YouTube goes, like in the summer, last summer, 2020 is when like I started this YouTube channel when I was on lockdown. I got COVID and I was at home for like 4 weeks because my work was like, oh, we don't know what to do. Just stay home. So I stayed home and got paid for, 3 weeks while I wasn't sick anymore. But anyways, I've less and less. I'm how do I say this? I'm much less frequently actually watching tech videos for actual amusement anymore. In fact, if I go to my homepage, it's mostly stuff about sim racing, camera gear, Technology Connections, by the way, amazing YouTube channel. I love Alec there. I love watching his videos. They're great if you're just, having a snack, want to watch a video for 15 minutes. He does a really good job on especially old, obsolete tech and how it works. It's really entertaining. He's really funny. If you like a punny, sarcastic humor, Alec is amazing at Technology Connections.
Oh, yeah. I watched something about CFL bulbs the other day. It was really interesting.
Yeah, I love his channel. So good. But as far as tech ones that I am currently subscribed to and I do use from time to time, we got Linus Tech Tips. Moore's Law is dead. I do like what Tom does over there for the most part. I'm not going to talk about the things I criticize about him. He's an intelligent guy, and he seems to have really good sources as far as when it comes to leaks and stuff like that. It seems like he really does, but he does like to pat himself on the back when he is right all the time, which can be annoying. And like, okay,
said,
good job. Yeah,
but
anyways, he does do a good job though, and he does good research.
Definitely.
Hardware Unboxed, I really like those guys over there. Who else? Jay's 2 Cents is the one person who. Well, I'm sure you have criticisms about him. I do like his content, and he is actually the reason why I started my own channel. Because I'm like, if this 40-something-year-old guy could start, if you go back to his old videos, no offense to him, they were absolute crap. But he's huge, and I'm like, we'll try it out. We'll see, have some fun, and he's the reason why I actually started this YouTube channel. I don't watch his content that often anymore, though, because I'm working so much on my own stuff that it's more like I want to watch something else as a hobby instead.
Yeah. I don't know. He's just very toxic on Twitter, and it kind of like put me off him. I used to think I don't know. It's just, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter what I think.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, we're not trying to slam these people or anything. I mean, there's some other tech tubers that are very toxic on Twitter that I can name, but I don't want to get into it here. That's the thing too. Like, Okay, before I get into this thing, I know what I was going to talk about, but one other that we talked about before this podcast is Level 1 Tech, and that's Wendell, who used to be part of Tech Syndicate, as well as a few other people who work on this YouTube channel. It's growing quickly since he's separated from Tech Syndicate, and Wendell is just a really, really intelligent guy that knows a lot about computing. So if you want a really in-depth stuff that's almost a step, not to say above, but beyond what you get from Gamers Nexus with Steve there, which they do a fantastic job too. That's probably, if I was going to say watch a single one about PC gaming and stuff, watch Gamers Nexus. But if you want to go a bit deeper on the different things, check out Level 1 Tech with Wendell there. He does a really, really good job. Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
So what I was going to say before, what I was thinking about, having collaborations with different people on YouTube, or just having people as guests on the podcast. And there's somebody that is a friend of a friend, and I know that they have a YouTube channel that's slightly bigger than what I've got right now. And I was like, yeah, maybe I could have them on the podcast. We do a little collab thing, have a guest on the podcast, have some fun. And I watched a few of his videos, and he was just crapping over other people's videos and to promote his own, being like, oh, this is garbage. Oh, this is garbage. Like, why even bother watching this? Just don't watch this garbage. And like, why are we watching your garbage? You're just like being a toxic butthole to other people on the internet. Like, have some love, people. Have some fun. Yeah. You criticize me all you want. I laugh at it because I criticize myself.
You're terrible.
And I think there's reasons to do it, and it's fun. I mean, you got to laugh at yourself, but just don't be like an overt a-hole to other people online, especially when you're publicly putting yourself out there. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't look good.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I don't know. I'm really into this, like watching YouTube videos and stuff. I don't have my own YouTube channel. I never will, most likely. But I'm there for some entertainment and some fun and learning and stuff like that. And the second it starts getting into arguments and criticism and stuff like that, it's just, I'm out.
I don't know, Matt. Some people have speculated that you are, in fact, you suck at cooking.
No comments.
Oh, well, thank you, Grantley, for the question. I know Grantley posts nice messages, encouraging messages on our YouTube channel there quite frequently. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
And thank you for the question.
Oh, did we have are there any subreddits? We didn't. He asked, he talked about our AMD. I guess there's a r/PC master race. It's sometimes, actually, I don't know. There's not really that much information there. It's mostly memey, isn't it? It's memes, and I'm 12 years old. Look at this monster computer I just built, and it's like all rainbow LEDs, and there's like 3 3090s in there and stuff.
Yeah. I don't go to Reddit for like actual news. I go there for, if it's tech related, conversations, because a lot of it, like you said, it's just people posting pictures of their builds and stuff like that, which sometimes is really cool. I like to see that. But one that I do like to go to just look at conversations, sometimes engage in conversations, is Build a PC Canada. And I think there's just a Build a PC Reddit as well. Yeah, just for conversation. But personally, I'm not going to Reddit for news and stuff like that.
Actually, there's a, what's it called? It's like Build a PC Sales or something. BAPC Sales.
That might be it. Yeah.
There's a Canada one, and that's like where you find out about amazing deals and stuff. There's definitely one for the States, depending on where you are. That's definitely awesome to find out, like when there's some crazy price error. Like there was this ViewSonic monitor, which went on like ridiculous sale on Amazon Canada, like $200 off or something like nuts. Which a ton of people pre-ordered. But then we ended up waiting around months, and they canceled most of our orders. But still, it was really neat to find out, like, oh my God, this monitor is going for $200 off. Like, and it's a mistake.
The mistakes are great.
Yeah.
So, our friend, go check him out on Twitch, Sensible Circle. He got a PC probably, I don't know, 2 years ago, and at the time, it was a pretty monster rig. Had 2080. I think it was an i9 CPU, whatever, like the
9900K
unlocked one is, and rattle off all of basically more than you need for a gaming PC type of thing. It's basically top of the line gaming PC. And he's somebody who's going to build a PC, but he found a deal and got a full build it was outrageously cheap. It was like $1,000 or less or something like that. It was stupid. Like if you bought the graphics card, you would have $100 to spare basically instead of buying this PC.
Yeah. It was like, it was like did he get it at Best Buy or something? And it was like a incorrectly stickered or something.
Yeah, it was one of those. And yeah, they actually completed the order, because a lot of times they won't they won't go through with the order. They'll cancel all of them, which is illegal. But you going to sue them? Like,
yeah, I actually was the recipient of something like that recently. For Christmas, my dad was like, "What do you want?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really know. I buy a lot of my own toys, but I asked them for this mobile recording interface. It was like this basic version. I didn't want him to spend too much money. But so he went to his local Long and McQuaid, which is a music store in Canada, and ordered this thing. They ordered it in from a different store, and he got it, and he paid the price, which was like fairly inexpensive. I opened it up on Christmas morning, and I'm like, "Whoa, you got this one?" He's like, what do you mean? This is what you wanted, wasn't it? I'm like, "No, this is like the really expensive deluxe version." So some idiot at some other store like just kind of looked at the name of the device and not like what model number or whatever, threw it on a truck to go to the other store, and everybody rang it all through without ever scanning the UPC or anything. So I got this thing for like half price, which is great. And yeah, I mean, my dad got to give double the gift, which is also good. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everybody won.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, those are the things in life that just really, really tickle you in the right way. That just, it's so sweet. A really good deal is just, and like something
nobody,
to behold.
and as like a company like that, like nobody's ever going to notice. They're going to do inventory. There's going to be, because one store is going to say like, "Oh, our inventory is wrong," and it's like, "Oh, but it went to another store," and it's a little small thing, and they'll just say like, "Well, we'll write it off."
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't remember the last time I got like a smoking deal on anything.
Yeah, your brother is like, he seems to find everything.
He does. He's a deal finder, and I think that redflagdeals.ca is one of those places where you can find a lot of them.
Like he got one of those.
You got to be on it.
Yeah, the Xbox Elite controller or whatever it is.
Oh yeah,
I kind of like one of those, but they're so expensive. But of course,
they just have like buttons on the back, extra paddles.
They have extra paddles on the back, but there's also like I think you can like dial things in a little bit more. I don't know. It might have extra software to configure dead zones, and maybe you can change some other things. Maybe the trigger actuation points or something. But yeah, I don't know. But anyways, of course, he's like, "Oh yeah, well, I got it for $2 or whatever," because he's that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious about those controllers, but I never was really interested in buying them. But now that I've been playing different games, although with racing games, if you're going to use a controller, I feel like one of those is almost a necessity at a certain point with all the different things that you have to change, all the settings.
Yeah, I've started really noticing that as I'm, of course, playing F1 2020 and really trying, I'm turning all the assists off and everything and starting to really notice like, hey, when I pull this trigger to like 85%, it's putting on the throttle 100%. Like that's not what I want. I want the throttle on 100% when I've completely pulled the trigger down. Like those little things, when you're really getting into it, those things matter quite a bit. Because if you put on full throttle too early, you're doing a Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah. You're doing a Mazepin.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even like changing the brake bias on the fly while you're racing. Having those extra paddles on the back would be fantastic for that.
Yeah.
Or whatever, the fuel and stuff, make it a lot easier. Even using the steering wheel, I don't have enough buttons and stuff. And I'm like, oh man, if I had a fan attack, like I could buy one of those Club Sport F1 wheels that has all the dials. You can set them to whatever you want. We're getting off track here. Here we go. We'll save this for the after show. There's a few things I want to talk about when it comes to sim racing, but we'll leave that for now. But we got another mail. This is from Chicken Gnar, which we got from last week. So I did ask them what they really meant. So last week they said, just wondering if you can tell me what the pale green sort of butter I was sometimes seeing around the circuitry is and what's its purpose. And we tried to figure out what that was. We didn't know. So I asked him to clarify, and he said, I've seen it around some circuitry switches. I suspect it's some sort of heatsink or dampening oil. I think I've seen it in remote controls, i.e. contact points for the control buttons. Maybe it is a conductive property even. And I've looked up different controllers.
Maybe they're like membrane switches or something.
I have no idea. I just kept looking. I just mean like, send me a picture.
Yeah, maybe
I don't know.
Maybe they're like those membrane switches. Let me see.
Membrane switch. What is a membrane switch? I just typed.
It's like a little like sort of metal bubble that you can push down. I'm trying to think of an example of one.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know?
Yeah. On like a cheap light that you buy from Amazon or something, have like a remote control with membrane switches.
Exactly.
Yeah. Huh. Maybe. But those just look like metal convex things.
Or the contact point for a button or something.
Yeah, one example I was kind of looking at was the Xbox 360 controller in the contact points for its D-pad, because I thought maybe that would be that color, but it wasn't. So, because those use those rubber pads with like the magnetic disc on the bottom of it. Oh, terrible. Can we talk about how terrible the D-pad was on the 360 controller? Do you remember using that? It was all squishy.
Yes.
But they changed the Xbox One controllers to just, I believe, I'm not going to open it up, but I imagine it's the same button that would be like I replaced in my mouse. That simple little button. And it's just, tactile click. It's so much better.
On the Xbox One?
Yeah, Xbox One controller. It's way better.
One regular or one S?
All of them. Since the original Xbox One controller, the one that came with my Rift, which is an original Xbox One controller. Since then, they've been using the same ones, as far as I can tell, because I have the newer Xbox One S controllers. I've got 2 of those, and I think they do the same with the Xbox One Series controllers.
I kind of felt like my Xbox One S controller, the D-pad was a little clickier.
Clickier?
Yeah, than the one I got with my Rift.
I'm trying to reach for one, but I don't know where. Oh, my controller's in the living room. We were playing It Takes Two last night. That's where they are. I just have the older controller with me. But I think they're similar.
The new Series controllers have a newer D-pad.
Have you tried it yet?
I have not.
I'm curious. I've been eyeing one. I'd like to get a white controller just for aesthetic purposes. I got a red and a blue one. I got a black one. Get a white one.
Yeah, I have
robot.
I have
it's robot white. Right?
Robot white. Yeah, like a robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the 1S controller, which is white. I quite like it, but it's it's got a different texture and stuff than the original Xbox One controllers.
Yeah, you're right though. They did change the D-pad. It's not just a 4-way button. It's looks like it maybe goes 360. It looks like what you'd see on the Xbox Elite controller. Same looking D-pad, I think.
Oh, the Series ones?
Series one, yes. Sorry.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Mm-hmm. So, sorry, Chicken Gnar, we don't know exactly what it is that you're talking about.
Yeah, please send a picture to
send a
Illiterate or Tilliterate at gmail.com.
Yes, please. Because maybe round 3 next week, we're going to know what it is and figure it out. I really want to know.
Yeah, me too.
Butter substance.
We can start commenting on other YouTube channels things, saying like, do you guys know what the pale green sort of butter stuff is I see around certain circuitry? Maybe if we all work together, we can figure this out.
Yes. We need full big brain to get this done. We need the full butt, not the half butt. We need the full butt. We'll get in there. That's just little Seinfeld references. You know what the problem living with someone who's never watched Seinfeld is? How many references I drop in. Just give me a blank stare. Like, oh, we got to watch Seinfeld. You need to watch Seinfeld. What are you doing? You're 30 years old. You haven't seen Seinfeld.
Well,
have you watched Seinfeld?
Me, of course.
Okay, good.
I'm pretty sure I've seen every single episode. Yeah, it's a wonderful show. I don't think it was ever, there was nothing better there's nothing that really came close to it until It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. But my wife didn't grow up in the West, and she only came to Canada at age 28. So we don't really have a lot of like pop culture stuff between us. We have like normal communication rather than just like Newman or whatever, or No Soup for You. Yeah. Like we use our own words.
It's almost like another reference, but in Harry Potter, when Ron Weasley's like talking about all his childhood like books or whatever stories that everybody knows about in the wizarding world, and Harry and Hermione look at him like, what the heck are you talking about? It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like, does your wife come to you with anything like that? Like there's some something she's very nostalgic about, and you're like, I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's fun. Like, do you get to watch them? Does she show you?
Oh yeah, I've seen.
That's cool.
Like,
I love it.
There's this one thing. I'm not going to attempt to speak Mandarin, but it's called like Big Face Cat or something. There's also another one. It's like Big Head Son and Small Head Father or something. They're just really weird cartoons.
I think all cartoons are weird.
Yeah,
but when you grow up with them, they seem normal.
Yeah, like I wonder what she would think if she saw Ren and Stimpy or Beavis and Butthead.
Yeah. Or Pinky and the Brain stuff.
Yeah, Animaniacs.
It's all weird. Yeah. It's all good fun though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. There's some cartoons they've aged really well. You can go back and watch that were like, quote, children's cartoons that are actually watchable as an adult. Like a lot of Disney movies are that way too. Pixar stuff, adults can watch them. There's jokes that go over kids' heads, and they're fun to watch for a family. But some of them are just not good. Big example. Sorry, not to offend anybody, but Pokemon is not good as an adult. It is terrible. It's not rewatchable. It's so bad. It's just like so shallow and bleh. I like to play the Pokemon game still once in a while, but the game, the cartoon, just no. I tried it a few years ago, and it didn't happen at all.
Yeah, Pokemon came out. I was in high school, so I don't really have the kid view of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
My friends and I watched it, and we were kind of like, we were definitely interested in like, what the heck is this sort of thing, and it was definitely unique, but we didn't like it the way a kid would like it, I guess.
Yeah. It was one of these kids these days, with their Fortnite and Minecraft and
not
Roblox.
Really. We were like, we were still like 16 or something. Yeah, but it was still it was interesting. As we're people who grew up we grew up on Japanese media pretty much. Transformers, Nintendo, Astro Boy, Robotech, that kind of stuff.
Oh man, a lot of it was back then though. Like, yeah. There was that station that I watched the most. I think a lot of kids who would have grown up around in Ontario was YTV, and mostly was just anime, like Dragon Ball, stuff like that. And it was great.
Yeah.
I can't really watch anime now though. I have friends who are adults and still enjoy it, which is cool, but I don't know. It just doesn't hit me.
Yeah, right. It's hard. For me, it's hard to find the right one. Because you start noticing like a lot of them have very similar plot lines. Like there's a loser kid who actually is a superhero kind of thing. Yeah. Or there's some clueless guy and like all the women are in love with him, or I don't know. It's hard for me to find one that I don't feel like it's made for like a different audience. I mean, of course they're made for different audiences. I'm not like a Japanese high schooler or something, but yeah, I don't know. Have you seen One Punch Man?
Nope.
That is killer. You got to watch that. It's almost like a parody of. Well,
it's on Netflix.
Pretty much is a parody of anime. It's so funny. Oh my god.
I've seen this guy though in memes, I think.
Yeah. It's very good. Must watch.
All right. Cool. I'll check it out. All right. Let's get to the end of this podcast and we can keep rambling into the after show. We got a few things I want to talk about. We left it till after because I mean, we've digressed so much in this episode. This might be the longest episode yet, but we'll see once we get to the end of it. So we got game news here. We're going to talk about the games we've been playing in the after show just for time's sake. So Matt, this is something that we talked about last week and you put in here because, hey, I don't play Cyberpunk. So this is all you.
Yeah. So actually we talked a couple of weeks ago about how Cyberpunk patch 1.2 only had like 4 new things in it. But it turns out they were just highlighting a few things. They did this sort of, I don't know, a semi-amusing like a release. I don't know, sort of a patch notes preview by doing it like an in-game newscast. So it's like the news anchor that you see on screens in game and stuff. And they were making these different features of patch 1.2, like improved car handling. They'd say something like, oh, well, Arasaka Corporation is outputting new software to their cars, which should improve handling or something like that. Like it was, in universe, which was kind of cute. But they only highlighted 4 things that seemed like super boring to me. But it turns out that the actual patch notes are massive. Like there's so many fixes.
I just scrolled it and counted how many healthy scrolls I did with the scroll wheel. 32 healthy spins of the wheel to get to the bottom of this page. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's so long.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I wonder how long it would take to compile just what was fixed and what wasn't. What was fixed and what they need to put in here. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. Cyberpunk had probably one of the greatest ever bugs in any game. And I'm going to put this in here so you can put it on maybe you can put it in the notes of the show or whatever. So it was this glitch where if you're driving down the street in your car, your character would be up through the roof, or if you're on a motorcycle, standing up on the motorcycle in T-pose with no pants on. So you're just going down the street, T-posed, no pants, ass out, everything, just blasting down the road. It's just so wonderful. So much better than, Skyrim troll hitting you and launching into the air. It's just pantsless on the roof of your car, just blasting in the street. Wonderful. So
that's a feature. That's not a bug. It needs to stay that way.
Yeah, I agree. So in other news, Cyberpunk patch 1.2 introduced a bunch of new bugs. So there's that. CD Projekt Red can't catch a break. We've seen all kinds of weird things. One person's entire city was engulfed in a sandstorm. There's another one where there were no pedestrians on the street and there's just cars doing like crazy fast, like donuts almost, just zipping around in circles. I don't know, just really weird stuff. Lots of UI problems where, the screen from your car would show up on billboards in game. I don't know. This game is definitely still very broken. Apparently, I haven't actually launched it in quite some time because I'm stuck and I couldn't progress past a certain point because the game was totally broken. I don't know if they fixed that or not. I don't even know at this point. I think they did add ray tracing for AMD cards in this update, but I haven't tried it out. I don't know. It's been a tough time for somebody who wanted to play this game, was really looking forward to this game. Yeah. It's not very good. It just seems like a really, really flashy mess.
Yeah, well, we hope, like we mentioned, I think it was last week or whenever we talked about this, is that I'm hoping that it has the same story arc that we had with No Man's Sky. And that game just got a recent update, I think a week or two ago, that, again, has apparently been another big step in its kind of redemption. Because, like we said, I've put in, 80, 90 hours, had a great time playing that game. Really a lot of fun. That was, 6 months ago. So if they're even building on it further, that's awesome. And I hope that's what's going to happen here with Cyberpunk. So there was a meme that somebody posted. This is on r/Cyberpunk game. And essentially it's the Star Wars scrolling intro. And it goes for 5 whole minutes. Almost 6 minutes to list all of the patch updates.
Yeah.
So one user did kind of TLDR this whole thing. And the most important ones that were listed, I guess, was making driving less painful, fixes a lot of bugged quests, fix some animation glitches, fix a small percentage of broken perks, improve stability on all platforms. Cops now auto-magically teleport spawn further behind you instead of right up your butt. Minor improvements in NPC AI, scripted companions don't yell constantly when you're sneaking now. AMD card owners can now turn on ray tracing, and restructured how third-party mods work for PC. So those are like the big ones kind of amalgamated, and the changes for this update. So yeah, I hope it gets there. I really do.
Yeah, I also hope they take a look at some of the third-party mods and realize where they've gone wrong. There's a third-person perspective mod. It's like that's the way I want to play that game, actually. Like, it looks really good. They went all in. They're like, no, this is a pure role-playing game, so you always have to be in first person because you're the person. But like, then why do I have to pick a hairstyle then? Like, if I'm never gonna see it, except on occasion when you walk up to a mirror and press look in mirror. That's when you realize, like, oh, this whole time I was just in my underwear. I didn't realize. Or like, oh, I've got this stupid hat on. It sounds strange to say, but I feel like it would be more immersive if I could see my character in these situations rather than, this awful first person perspective of like a 4 foot tall person, which is, I don't know. It just seems to be a thing. Like, I don't know, in first person games, they always make your guy really short. You notice that? Like,
I don't know. I haven't.
Like, play Doom. Just try to look around and try to figure out how tall you are. You're like 3.5 feet tall.
Doom Eternal?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll try it out.
Or Battlefield. Like, so many games. Like, you're always so short.
Huh. I wonder if it's just a perspective thing that it works better on, pancake games.
Pancake games? You mean like 2D, like monitor games?
Yeah. Flat games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's when people started noticing it, when they were using Vorpex to, to shoehorn VR into their favorite games. They realized, like, oh man, I'm so short.
Yeah, and the scale of things.
Yeah,
especially too. It's a different thing. No, I haven't noticed that. That's interesting. Now I want to see that. I'm going to try every game. It's going to be one of those things, like, once you become a painter, you see all the mistakes when it comes to painting. Maybe I'll see that too. I'll be like,
yeah,
it's going to ruin games for me.
It will. Sorry. Sorry, everybody.
Forget what we said. Cool. Well, yeah. Do you think we should leave it there? We'll go into the after show. We're on 2.5 hours. It's a whole 2:10 minutes for the regular show about there, rather.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Let's do it. Because I need to eat soon, like I always do. Matt already had his dinner. I didn't. I need to eat. So we're going to get to the after show. We've got a few things to talk about. We're going to talk some games that we've been playing. We talked a little bit about them last week, but I want to go into depth a bit more about one of them in particular, and that's It Takes Two, because I've been playing more of that, and it just keeps getting better. So anyways, if you're interested in listening to this podcast, you can go anywhere, YouTube. It's going to be on your favorite podcatcher, iTunes. If you rate it, that'd be really great. I'd love to see any kind of ratings on our podcast, even if it's a bad one. I love to read ranting reviews about how terrible we are. Those are my favorite. I just laugh so hard. Anyways, you can go to our Patreon there. Just search for Tech Illiterate on Patreon. Get access to the ad-free and extended podcast, along with a few extra goodies there. And anything else you want to say, Matt, to the wonderful listeners?
No, don't put me on the spot like that.
This has been Off and On again. Thank you for listening.